On this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone, we're going to recap the forecast from Week 13. In our second segment, which head coaches are on the hot seat and are more than likely going to be fired at the end of the season. Me and Mike have a feeling it's going to be more than one of them on their way out the door. And also, we'll give you our forecast of Week 14 coming up this weekend. Some big matches to talk about. You do not want to miss that. Right here, Gameball NFL Endzone, and it begins now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. I'm Marcus Young, Genius Jenkins.
It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And of course, salute to our brother Luke Harden, who could not be in the building with us. But, of course, like we always do, we hold each other down. And with that being said,
for sure,
always, we're going to recap Week 13's forecast, starting with the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers will come out on top of their rematch. Of course, we all know everything that happened in the first matchup. But they will find a way. That fourth quarter, that defense came alive in Pittsburgh, and they gave Baker Mayfield quite the time. And they found a way to get it done in that fourth quarter at home. 20-13 will be the score on that matchup. Now, this matchup we're going to talk about here again momentarily, but the Baltimore Ravens, last-minute field goal to overcome the San Francisco 49ers. 20-17 will be that score. We'll talk about that more in depth here in just a moment. And the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, not a lot to talk about. They were up 31-0 going into the fourth quarter. Oakland would score 9, and then Kansas City would score one more time to make it 40-9 would be the score. A big matchup, obviously, for them. A big win to stretch their lead in the AFC West and remain in first place. Not before they head into Foxborough in the weekend, and we'll talk about that in the third segment. And speaking of Foxborough, the New England Patriots, we'll talk about this game right after San Francisco and Baltimore. There's a lot that we can talk about in this game, I think. Give the New England Patriots a ton of credit for making a great run and making it close. The Houston Texans definitely started off strong. Maybe they let off the gas. Maybe it's the Patriots that beat themselves. Mike will talk about that definitely a little bit more here momentarily. But let's rewind it and back it up a little bit as we talk about Baltimore with a huge win over the San Francisco 49ers and giving them their second loss on the season. Mike, how was Baltimore able to put themselves in a position to win this game in the fourth quarter?
Well, that fourth down and one play, before that, they was able to get a fumble off of Jimmy Garoppolo, then that 4th and 1 play. And I question that play calling by the 49ers. I feel like if they would have ran the ball or get a quarterback sneak out of it, they would have kept the drive going and get a first down. Yeah. I didn't like that play calling. The 49ers did everything right but those two mistakes. They had Baltimore in their wraps and their grounds. They shut down the passing game except for the touchdown. They shut down Mark Ingram, but they couldn't shut down Lamar Jackson. But they figure out a formula to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and at the end, it cost them the game. So if there's a blueprint on beating Baltimore, the 49ers did display it, which they had a running back and a punter and a punt return emulate Lamar Jackson, and it kind of worked to their advantage a little bit to where they almost came with the win. Now, for the Baltimore Ravens, give them credit where credit's due. This is not one of their best games, but they was able to come out strong with the win. Going forward, you have to start a lot stronger, especially the defense. And the way that the 49ers went for it on 4th down, that 33-yard touchdown pass and Deebo Samuel over Marcus Peters, there's still question about Marcus Peters' aggressiveness. I mean, he's a good player, but sometimes he could get sloppy in coverage. And Lamar Jackson was able to do what he do, but he has to step up a little bit in the passing game. And going forward in the playoffs, you can't be doing all that. And plus, inclement weather was in your favor, and we saw that. So, but overall, the Baltimore Ravens stepped up defensively what they needed to do. Lamar Jackson made some plays here and there, settled the winning field goal, and get the win. They have another tough opponent in Buffalo Bills, which is not an easy gimmick. That's in Buffalo. That is the toughest place to play, and we'll talk about that. So give it up to the Baltimore Ravens, but they got a lot of work to do because they were exposed against the San Francisco 49ers, despite the San Francisco 49ers losing that game.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about, once again, things are not going to be easy for them looking forward. They have a very tough defense ahead of them. This doesn't get any easier for the Baltimore Ravens.
Also, they have the Steelers, which it was a nail biter. And they also have the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, who thumped them the second week of the season.
All right, the Baltimore Ravens, once again, rolling on 20-17 in a great game against the San Francisco 49ers. Now we're going to go to the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. Like I said, I got to ask you this, Mike, because give the Patriots a ton of credit. Maybe we can say that Houston let off the gas, which you would let off the gas against the Patriots of all teams. Of all teams, we're not even going to go there. But give them a ton of credit. They played like champions would, and they fought to the end. And what seemed like a long lead for the Houston Texans, they almost coughed this game up. And unfortunately for the Patriots, it was too little too late. Mike, I got to ask you, did Houston let off the gas, or would you agree that maybe New England beat themselves in this game?
Well, you could say Houston let off the gas, but New England beat themselves because they left a lot of plays out there. And the offensive line protection was good. It's just that they couldn't get separation. Now, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to say it. I think this is for football reasons only. Football reasons, they should bring back Antonio Brown to help at their receiving core.
Interesting. Okay.
Because you've seen the frustration with Tom Brady and crew in the offense. And they're going to get better and better. But if you add Antonio Brown, that opens up more the dynamic. And that way you can find your one-on-one matchups. But Houston, Texas did a phenomenal job for the first few parts of the game. They doubled up element and they was able to force the interceptions. But at the end, New England was able to go on a scoring rampage and almost recovered it on the special teams if that ball would just fell a little lower. Mm-hmm. But the Patriots going to figure it out. It's not time to hit the panic button yet. Right. They're not 2-10. They're 10-2 for a reason. So, of course, everybody's going to write them off. But when it comes to the playoffs, they're a different animal.
Absolutely.
We've seen this year after year after year. As soon as you think the Patriots are done, they rewrite the script. And Belichick is saving something. He's got something up his sleeve, and I just can tell. And they'll find a way. And defensively, it wasn't their best game again. I think going forward, playing against mobile quarterbacks, and I think everybody's starting to emulate the Ravens offense with the pistol formation, the two tight ends in the backfield, all of that. I think New England's seen too many of those. They'll find a way to adjust. And those two losses, they were more mobile quarterbacks. And I think,
very true.
And I think that will help them going against the Chiefs in Foxborough. They got to get back to the drawing board. And this wasn't their best game. But in December, that's when their best game is coming out for. So we haven't seen the best of it yet. We're just going to be in for a surprise. They're just setting it up to where when the right time comes, it's big boy football.
And the thing is, what I find interesting though is this is the most scrutinized 10-2 team I've ever seen. Because I mean, look, I'll admit, offensively, this isn't the best Patriots offense that we've seen, but the defense, for the most part, has been not so bad. Like you mentioned, not their best game, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to ride off the New England Patriots, of course, but that's the beauty of media and football and all that stuff. They're going to find ways, especially when it's a good team and they're down. That's just, it seems like that's how it goes. They're going to find a way to talk about a weak point, and we're panicking over a 10-2 football team. And might we add, 5 championships later, on top of being the defending Super Bowl champions going into this season. Yeah, let's pump the brakes just a little bit. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this first segment. Coming up, Mike and I are going to talk about which head football coaches are on the hot seat and are more than likely going to be fired at the end of the season. Stick around. You do not want to miss that conversation as Gameball calls kickoff. We'll return in a moment. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone. Now, Mike, I got to ask you, which head football coach on the hot seat will more than likely be fired at the end of this season?
Well, there's a bunch of them that's going to be fired. The top of the list, it has to be Pat Shurmur of the New York Giants.
Okay.
In my opinion, he should not have gotten the head coaching job in the first place. It's due to coordination, but I don't know how that happened and all that stuff. It's probably favoritism. So he's going to be gone by the end of the season. Number 2, Jason Garrett of the Dallas Cowboys. It seems like everybody is pretty much writing him off as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. If he does not win the NFC East or a Super Bowl, he's out of there. And you could say Dan Quinn from the Atlanta Falcons as well.
Absolutely.
And due to that, he hasn't came back over that 25-point lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They had never recovered since then. They made 1 playoff appearances and never came back since then. So you could say he's on the hot seat. Doug Marrone, the Jacksonville Jaguars, his name is up there as well. Freddie Kitchens of the Cleveland Browns shouldn't even got a job, in my opinion, in the first place. So if they would find a better coaching part to get into that category, this wouldn't even be a discussion. You could also throw Matt Patricia's name in there. So my top 3 are Pat Shurmur, guaranteed gone.
Right.
Jason Garrett, more likely. It's going to come down a tie between Dan Quinn and Freddie Kitchens.
I agree with that. The whole Jason Garrett situation, you would have to say he's been on the hot seat for years. His job has been called for quite some time. It's going to be, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, that's really what it is. Because how many times have we talked about Jason Garrett being on the hot seat and then Jerry Jones having to change our heart? I'm not going to be surprised if Jerry Jones has a change of heart and we still see Jason Garrett on the sidelines in Dallas next season.
How can you be mediocre and still have a job? 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, playoffs. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, and playoffs. That's why Luke says the Dallas Cowboys are America's 8-8.
Freddie Kitchens, I can see that definitely being the case. This Pittsburgh game wasn't it. And then on top of that, here's the thing. And nobody really talked about this as much as I thought, but the whole Freddie Kitchens wearing the Pittsburgh Started t-shirt, which I thought was kind of unprofessional, and as you being a direct representative of an organization and trying to move on from a situation, I understand you're going into a big game, but I felt like that in itself could come back and shoot him in the foot. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield needs to have a quarterback that can develop him. I'm not going to ride him off because he's only in his second season. We know the hype, the pressure. He has a lot of weapons on offense, but that fourth quarter, he looked terrible. It looked really bad in that fourth quarter. You can definitely tell he still has a lot of growing to do. Like I said, he's only in the second season. I'm not ready to do like a lot of people are saying and overhype him and whatnot. But to get back on point, I can see Kitchens being gone. Dan Quinn, absolutely, because the Falcons have just flat out underperformed for quite some time. Doug Marrone, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I can see him being fired as well. If there's anybody, maybe Matt Patricia might still be the Lions head coach. Jason Garrett, once again, I'll believe it when I see it. But I'm just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, do not be surprised. Do not get your hopes up. If they still have Jason Garrett as a head coach next year, I don't see him being fired. I think Jerry Jones going to change the heart.
You shouldn't say, ladies and gentlemen, you should have said that to the Dallas Cowboys nation, because they're the one. Dallas Cowboy Nation, I talk about you all the time. I have fun. I joke with you, and I call you the bad luck in the making because that black cat has been going on year after year after year. You need to protest. Jerry Jones to fire Jason Garrett. If that doesn't happen, stop buying tickets to the damn game. Do not show up. Go outside with protest signs. We want Garrett out. And Jerry Jones, you need to retire as the general manager and president and just hire somebody and just be a damn owner like Robert Kraft and all the other owners, the Lamar Hunt's, the Kansas City, the great Lamar Hunt's son. He's learning how to be the owner, and you got a bunch of them who can be owners who are always in the playoffs year after year because they do not interfere. And Jerry Jones is still doing it, and that's why they're in this position. It's all because of Jerry Jones. He had a good coach in Bill Parcells. He let him go. He had a good coach in Wade Phillips, which that was the mistake. It's just all about him and his tension. He wants to take all the credit. So stop it, Jerry Jones. And the Dallas Cowboy fans, protest.
Will it work, though? We're going to find out. Like I said, won't be surprised if everyone on this list except for Jason Garrett is fired. That's all I'm saying. Coming up next on Gameball NFL Endzone, the third segment, we're going to give you our forecast. Stick around. You don't want to miss that. Some big matchups that we'll talk about. Stick around. We're just getting started right here on Gameball NFL Endzone. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, and it is time to give you our forecast, the top four matchups to look out for heading into Week 14 of the NFL season, starting with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Mike, talk about this matchup.
Battle of two good defenses. It's going to come down to, can the Bills defense slow down the Baltimore Ravens offense? How you going to emulate that? How you going to stop that? They got to have a good game plan and be consistent and stay at home. You got to have a defensive line, keep the eye on the quarterback. You got to have the linebacker keep an eye on the running back for the option pitch play. So you have to watch out for a little trickery and all that. And the Bills' defense is one of the top 5 defense in the league, but they're 21st against the run. So their run defense is going to have to step up offensively. You're going to have to put up some points and take advantage of it and win the time of possession battle. And for the Baltimore Ravens, you can't look against the Bills defense. Not the Bills defense, just the Bills in general. This could potentially be a trap game for the Baltimore Ravens. You cannot let this slip, because if you lose on the road and if New England wins, New England gets the top seat back. So you have to be disciplined, offense, defense, and special teams, to get the win on the road.
All right, big matchup. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Buffalo Bills. Another good matchup. The San Francisco 49ers looking to bounce back off of that loss, speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, as they take on the New Orleans Saints. Mike, what do you like about this one?
Man, the battle offense versus defense is going to be a good one, and I can't wait to watch it. Man, yeah, the battle in the Bayou. Oh, man, the San Francisco 49ers is looking to bounce back. And I think defensively they'll make the adjustments to do that. And offense, they were there, but I question the play calling on fourth down. If you're going to be aggressive, put a better play calling so you can be successful. And if defense steps up offensively, they can do their thing and put points on the board, they can win. Now, the challenge is for the Saints offense against that defense. How are you going to be able to score points and all that? So, and you have to go be aggressive against a very good defense, and put a little trickery with Taysom Hill and all that stuff. And defense, you're going to have to be able to force turnovers, be disciplined, force 3 and outs against the 49ers offense.
All right, San Francisco and their top-notch defense taking on the legendary gunslinger himself, Mr. Drew Brees. That's going to be a big matchup. And speaking of big matchups, the rematch of the AFC Championship game from a season ago, the Kansas City Chiefs against the New England Patriots. Mike, break down this matchup.
Well, the Chiefs defense is going to have to step up. We all know that the Patriots offense is lack of weapons. This past season, it has been the Patriots offense, but you cannot sleep on it.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know what the Patriots offense is going to dial up and find mismatches, especially the linebackers. They're going to have to defend well against the running backs, do what the Texans did, put a corner on a running back to stop it. And if you can do that, force confusion, you did your job. And offensively, you're going against one of the best defenses in the NFL. It may not show last week, but you're going to have to take your chances and be aggressive. If you could do that on the road, you get the win. Now, for the Patriots offensively, you got to bounce back. You got to find a way. You got to be able to score points. If you score a touchdown on the opening drive, get your confidence going. That get the defense confidence going. And I think they've seen enough of mobile quarterbacks. And I think Belichick going to have something planned out for it. So it'll be fun to watch and see if their defense can shut down the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and the offense has a big game, they'll win at home.
All right, big matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Foxborough taking on the New England Patriots. Definitely two teams that have been very familiar with each other over the year or so. And that's going to take us to our last matchup, the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. Mike, what do you like about this one?
Well, the Rams got a bounce-back win against the Cardinals, but how you stop Russell Wilson? That boy is an MVP candidate for the reason. I don't know, is Sierra writing new hits for a song on a playbook or something? I don't know what she's singing in his ear, and wherever she giving them recipes, whatever, it's working. Now, the defense, they can step up better. And it seems like since the Rams played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, offensively, they've been pedestrian. And defense hasn't been the same defense. So if they can step up those two categories and special teams, they'll get the win at home. And the Seahawks keep do what they're doing. And defensively, Jadeveon Clowney is starting to pay off for them. If they can do that, they'll win on the road.
All right, the Seahawks taking on the Rams. And that's going to take us to the predictions part of the episode, starting with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Who you got?
Luke has the Baltimore Ravens to win. I have Baltimore Ravens to win as well. but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills get an upset win at home over the Baltimore Ravens, because this could be a potential trap game. Because going to Buffalo in December, that is a tough place to play, especially late in the season. But I'm going to make this a close one. I'm going to say Baltimore wins and a slugfest. 17-10, Baltimore gets it done.
I agree with that 100%. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair at all. That defense for Buffalo is the truth. And I don't expect them to allow Lamar Jackson to run all over the field. I think he's going to have to beat them with his arm. Try to get Marquinhos maybe going early.
Excuse me for interrupting. But if you can make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arms, that's advantage for the Bills.
I absolutely agree. And Buffalo Bills, they are the truth. I think they'll find a way. Baltimore, they show that they can kind of hang in there with a great defense in San Francisco. Not any better going against Buffalo. I expect a similar score. I'll say 14-17, honestly. This isn't going to be an exciting matchup. It's going to be a grudge match. But I think Baltimore will just find a way to squeak it out. San Francisco and New Orleans, Mike, who you got?
Luke has got the Saints winning. I got the 49ers in a bounce back win. It's just that their defense let one slip away. And offensively, that questionable fourth down call. And if that fumble did happen, it would have been the other way around. So I picked the San Francisco 49ers to bounce back win on the road. Defense steps up big. I'm going to say 28-17, 49ers gets it done at the Bayou.
It's going to be a fun match, I'm not going to lie. Watching the gunslinger Drew Brees against that deadly defense. I think San Francisco will get this one out as well. I think it's going to be high scoring. I'll say 28-35. San Francisco will find a way to get this done. I just don't see that team dropping 2 in a row. Kansas City Chiefs, New England Patriots, let's keep it real. We fans of both teams respectively, but who you got?
Luke has got the Chiefs to win, and I got the Patriots in a bounce back win. I think offensively, they've figured out enough to score a few touchdowns, and defensively, mobile quarterbacks, I think that they've seen enough of it. I think they'll let loose and be aggressive, and they're going to put Stephon Gilmore on Sammy Watkins and let Jones be on Tyreek Hill with a safety over top double coverage. So I'm going to say the Patriots bounce back in a close one. I'm going to say 27-20 Patriots gets it done at home, and I don't see back-to-back losses with the Patriots.
That is very unfamiliar territory. Both of these teams have an advantage. New England has a great defense. Kansas City has a great offense. It's really going to come down to those two sides of the football for both these teams respectively. I can see Kansas City outscoring New England just because, but give New England that credit. That offense seemed to be clicking after this past weekend. Maybe they found something that works for them. Tom Brady did have a great game offensively. There's no question about that. It was something I'm not going to lie. I was kind of finally waiting to see if and when they were going to finally get it together. They finally came to life against the Texans late in that game. I think if Kansas City gets off to a strong start like they did the last couple of weeks, I think they'll be in good shape. I agree. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair as well. I say 35-28. I think the Chiefs will roll on in Foxborough. Seattle, Los Angeles, who you got?
I got Seattle sweeping the Rams. The Rams, they're in a funk this season.
I agree.
They're going through midlife crisis. I don't know what type of crisis they're going through. They haven't figured it out yet. They have one good game, bad, good, bad. I don't know. So I'm going with the Seahawks to win, and Luke has the Seattle Seahawks to win as well. I'm going to say 28-14 to Seahawks.
That sounds about right, I think. So the Los Angeles Rams, for me, I think they are like most teams. The New England Patriots, we know, are of a different breed. But usually it seems like a team that is fresh off of a Super Bowl appearance. They seem not to be as hot the next season. And maybe they're still dealing either with that loss like the Rams did. We know it seems like that loss kind of haunted them because their Super Bowl performance was not the best that we've seen. I just think that they're still kind of off of that season. I think they'll bounce back next year, but going into this weekend, I think Seattle's going to play fantastic. Russell Wilson, I expect him to throw for 4 touchdowns. I think he'll have close to 400 yards. I think he'll have a field day on that defense. I'll say give me 35. I'll say 35-21. I think the Seahawks will get it done. And that's going to do it for this episode of Gameball NFL Endzone. Social media, find me on Facebook, Marcus Jovel ENT Jenkins, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, @JovelENT. That's @Jovel_entertainment.
Facebook, Gmail, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the social media platforms to my right. That'll be on your left side. And don't forget, get your fly gear and all that on our clothing line website at gameballshop.ecwid.com. That's gameballshop.ecwid.com. And don't forget to visit our official website page at gck.gnfle.com. Excuse me, that's gck-gnfle.com. Get your content and all that. And you can't forget our other brother Luke, who could not be here. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram as Luke Harnett, and on Twitter as Luke Harnett 2, because he's the real Luke Harnett, folks.
Yes, sir. Marcus Young Genius Jenkins.
It's your boy, Michael Riley.
And as always, thank you for tuning in to Gameball NFL Endzone. We'll see you next week.